Yep, yep, go on.
Cool. Hey, so yeah, first of all, welcome. We're going to be doing this weekly dev call starting today. So essence of this call is there's like so much development happening right now. We just like have a bunch of users who are using us in production, also making a lot of changes on security, on robustness, some changes to the SDK itself and the app itself. So there are like a lot of changes that are going in right now. And we thought it's just best to sync up once weekly and talk to you about, hey, what are the changes that went in the last week? What are the changes that you need to do on your end to be compatible with the latest? And if there are any questions in particular, would love to answer those as well. And quickly going on to the agenda, I think it's good to just quickly do a recap in like 60 to 90 seconds of what Reclaim Protocol is. As I mentioned, a bunch of developer updates. And then we have Space Kite. I saw Paul on the list a little while back. Okay, yeah, Paul is here. Paul is one of the developers using Reclaim Protocol, so would love to see what he is building. If we can jam a little bit on that. And towards the end, of course, taking questions on largely issues that you're having with integration. Cool, let's go. So what is Reclaim Protocol? For those of you who do not know or who are new on this call, it's an SDK to let users import their reputation from any other website. What that means is, actually, let me just show you the video, right? So over here, if this is your website, the user has to scan a QR code, and on their phone, this pop-up will show up. So basically, it's a browser, right? So a browser pops up, and they're asked to log into, in this case, let's say Amazon. It takes about 4 to 5 seconds on the latest iPhone, maybe 10, 20 seconds on a low-end Android phone to generate this proof. Now, proof is generated, which contains all of the information that has been extracted. So basically, whatever reputation you want to extract. So in this case, from Amazon, you might want to extract the data on how many purchases you made, what's your address, and so on. So you can just import all of that reputation from Amazon. And you can do this from various websites, right? So we have support for more than 100 websites right now. And even more interestingly, you can add support for new websites on your own using a developer tool called, it's on dev.reclaimprotocol.org. You can check that out and try to build for yourself. If you face any issues, we have this Telegram group where you probably found the link to this call anyways. Just post over there. You'd see that we respond like super quick over there. Then that's what Reclaim Protocol is. If you're building something in which you want to import reputation from other websites, we have an SDK to help you do that, even if the said website does not have APIs. So that's pretty awesome. Okay. Cool. On to the developer updates for this week. Two major updates going in. First of all, we've been, those of you who are not aware, I think most of you might be aware that we are doing a security audit right now. The audit should be completed in a couple of weeks, actually. And but public announcement might take a little bit longer. But anyway, we are doing the audits, and then we realized that there are ways to improve the security. So we have pushed a bunch of security updates in the latest update. So you'll have to update to 1.1.0. So it's a breaking change. And you can expect a couple more iterations coming in the next 24 to 48 hours. I was expecting all of them to be completed like before this call. But unfortunately, the 1C over here is not yet in production, but it will be in production very soon. So just keep an eye out for the latest updates on the JS SDK. 1.1.x is a breaking change. So there's one more parameter that is going to be added to verify proofs method if you've been using that, especially on JavaScript and Solidity. These are the two that are going to go live first. If you're using something else, let us know. We will update that on priority as well. So JS SDK and Solidity SDK will get updated in the next 24 48 hours. And soon after, we'll have the launch going in for Dart, Cosmos, and Solana as well. Cool. That's the security update. But more importantly, the thing to note over here is that you will have to do an update on the JavaScript SDK version. So the core change that is going to be happening over here, again, from your flow perspective, underneath there's a bunch of security changes. So that's something that you need not bother about. We'll take care of it. But what you need to probably change is, before this, what you were probably doing is you were using proof.extracted_parameters.key. And that is going to change from that to proof.context.extracted_parameters.key. So if you are, let's say, trying to extract the address from Amazon, it would be proof.context.extracted_parameters.address, right? Or dot number of orders or whatever. But the key change is, previously we were doing this proof.extracted_params, now you're to do proof.context.extracted_params. Again, it's part of the refactoring that we had to do in the security patch. Cool. That is the first. More security coming your way, audits coming your way. I think that's the first major update. And the second update is to do with Google login. I see a few familiar faces on this call who have had an issue with websites that require users to log in using Google, especially LinkedIn, right? So there was an issue where Google login on LinkedIn was facing issues, in the sense, after logging in, it would just show like a blank screen. And this is honestly part of a bigger project. That is, whenever there is a login button which pops up another window where you have to log in, and after you log in on that pop-up, you go back to the login flow. That flow on Google login, we faced some issues in the past. We've identified the issue. We've pushed a fix to test flight at this point. We are still yet to push it to production. Again, I was hoping it would have been done by now, but App Store approvals and shit. So basically, if you are using Google login in any of the websites that you're importing data from, and previously you've had problems, definitely reach out to us. We can give you early access so that you can start testing out the updated version as well. So we can add you to the test flight, or we can give you access to the APKs, whatever, right? So yeah, if you had a problem with Google login in the past, we have fixed it, and we're happy to give you early access. Right. Those are the two most important updates from this week. Again, as I said, security fixes, security patches have been put in, and we fixed Google login, particularly for LinkedIn. So if you want early access, let us know. Cool. That is all that I had on developer updates. I wanted to wrap this up within 10 minutes, which I did. With that, I know Paul is here. Paul, all yours. Maybe if you could show us what you're building, and maybe highlight a little bit of how you're using Reclaim in the flow, and then we can have a few questions back and forth.
Awesome. First of all, thank you so much, Madhavan. Being on the other side, talking to you, hosted you on the podcast, but this is the first time on a developer call, right? Just to make it clear, this is not something. It's a part of Space Kayak. It's a personal kind of endeavor, and we are participating in the Colosseum Renaissance hackathon, and as a part of we're building something, and that's how we got introduced to Reclaim.
Should I just call it Paul?
Cool. No. So very so today we did a very small kind of soft announcement on Twitter as well. We're building something called Alloy. So Alloy is a loyalty layer on top of ONDC. And our idea is to kind of build rewards and loyalty network on top of ONDC. So the first day when we started when we were at the hackathon, we were trying to brainstorm on what we can build. We met Ruchil, and Ruchil kind of introduced us to this whole idea of like how powerful vampire attacking could be. It sounded like really crazy, like because we never uh, thought that could be a legit thing. But it really opened up a lot of possibility. And so we started looking very closely at what Reclaim could actually do. And
Hey,
it kind
Paul,
of fitted.
if I may quickly intercept here, for those of whom might not know what an vampire attack means, could you throw a little bit of light on that?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. So essentially, imagine ways for you to capture cohorts of users from different parts, right? You could look at Web2 as a cohort, and you want to get a mass cohort of Web2 users into Web3. And how do you essentially like do really, really smooth kind of onboarding, right? You got to give them an incentive. And so that's where this whole vampire attacking kind of idea comes into play. And the way Ruchil kind of explained it to us is, hey, imagine if Web2 your activity on the internet is archived and it's kind of stored with centralized companies. And imagine if there was a way for you to unlock that data and like, prove that you own certain streams of activity on the internet. It can be anything, right? It can be something like, hey, I am an intent user who watches YouTube streams. Or it could be, hey, I have been someone who's been taking thousands of Rapido rides. Or it could be someone who says, I have a very particular kind of ordering on Swiggy or Zomato. So
Yeah.
you could do a lot of these things. And when these kind of truths emerge and you're able to prove, a new kind of market appears, right? That the whole Web3 could be a new market. So that's how Ruchil kind of explained to us. And so we thought, okay, so this is very interesting. So if we unlock the ability for users on Web2 to create new proofs of their archival kind of internet behavior, then these new patterns emerge, which are very new as primitive to the whole world of Web3, right? So now I can start rewarding someone who has fitness activity. I can start capturing people who have certain type of internet intent, right? Certain type of people who do certain type of activities. And this was not possible at all before. And this completely changes the way you incentivize, onboard, capture new cohorts of user, all these, right? So I think that's Madhavan, my understanding of vampire attacking in context to Reclaim, and that's how we understood it. If there's a much better technical explanation, I would let you give that.
No, this is actually pretty good. You're saying how to capture cohorts of users who have certain, as you said, internet preferences. I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, and probably just the only thing I would add is this is something that's pretty commonplace in Web3. Like most famously, Blur did this vampire attack on OpenSea, right? And got a lot of users. But that is something that is not possible in Web2. Like you can't vampire attack the users of, I don't know, Instagram or TikTok, right? So yeah, it's a pretty good definition, Paul. So yeah, that hadn't back to you, but also now I'm more interested in knowing what you're building, more than what vampire attack means.
Okay. Awesome. So I think I just want to very quickly set some context. One of the most like um inspiring things happening in the DPI space, which is digital public infrastructure space of India, is ONDC, and the work that Beacon Protocol is doing. I would highly recommend folks to like just go spend half a day looking at what they are doing. It's very fascinating. And with ONDC, essentially, imagine it to be like the language of transaction. So now we have a language of transaction that all the commerce companies can follow. And what that is enabling is, today we already have ONDC based apps like pin code, Nammayatri, and all, right? So there is no commission that has been taken by centralized parties. There are multiple service providers which are almost like plug and play into the whole e-commerce stack. While all of this is happening, this is the development in ONDC, and essentially ONDC is having a special track on this hackathon, where they are exploring, or they've invited folks to come and explore the intersection of what can happen, can you build in between the layers of ONDC, open, digital commerce network, and how can you bring some parts of blockchain into it. So what we are trying to do is, the future is clearly going to be massive unlock of um, uh, you know undercurrent of Indian commerce, I would say. Your hyper local commerce, thousands of small shops getting onto ONDC network. We already have, like, I think last month had a 90% surge in Namayatri user base. So the momentum is gonna go on. So it's gonna get more and more valuable as Web2 users who are currently users of Uber, Ola, Swiggy, Zomatos of the world start moving to ONDC backed networks or apps, right? And that will very soon happen. And today there is no incentive for people to move. So one of the layers that we are trying to solve for is, imagine you use Make My Trip and you get MMT points. You use cred, and of course you get the most useless cred coins. You go and you use any other centralized platforms, you get their own kind of Zomato points or Swiggy points, whatever, right? This is this is a kind of like very centralized loyalty, which has its own kind of drawbacks. One is, um, you cannot, it's not interoperable in nature. I'm not rewarded unless I'm like it's a credit card points. At a app level or a platform level, it is not really rewarding for me. Second is, I got to accrue a lot of points to be for it to be any meaningful. Third is, even in terms of redemption, I don't have a say on what I want, if there is a loyalty point accrual happening, right? So it's all set by the centralized system. So since ONDC is an open network, it clearly lacks like a loyalty layer. So we are building a loyalty layer on top of ONDC. What it means is essentially, the moment you integrate Alloy's SDK into your app, any small shop seller can now start giving loyalty points to purchases. And you as a user, as a consumer, on the other hand, I get loyalty points when I use Namayatri, when I use pin code, when I use any apps on ONDC, right? So that's pretty, it's a very interesting way, because like as a consumer now, every day, whatever consumption I'm doing, I'm kind of getting loyalty points, and this is on chain. So I this is verifiable. I can use it across different shops. We have a couponing system on top of it. So this is a whole loyalty engine, a loyalty layer that we're building on top of ONDC. So that's what Alloy is all about. But the fundamental problem still remains, right? How do you get more users to actually come and use it? Loyalty makes sense. It's a nice reward system, but unless consumption goes up, like, loyalty doesn't make sense, right? So for us, bootstrapping this whole network is kind of like a big challenge, and that's where we leaned into the idea of retro rewards. So I think this is going to be a first very interesting mass consumer play where, you know, we're gonna use Reclaim to give users retro rewards. So imagine you verify that I have 400, 500 Uber rides that I've taken. You're gonna get some points. But interestingly, these points are going to be used for incentivizing your Namayatri rides, right? So we are literally like rewarding for all your Web2 centralized activities using Reclaim, and you use those points and you find interesting ways to bootstrap and start using your journey inside the whole ONDC ecosystem, right? And we're starting with F&B food as a category, but since the whole on-chain loyalty nature is pretty interoperable and it applies universally, it could very well like expand to the whole ONDC consumer network. Like, it can be retail, it can be food, it can be transportation, it can be anything. So yeah, so this is what we're building as a whole in terms of Alloy. And I think Reclaim is a very critical part for us. The more kind of channels and tracks that we release, which is for retro rewards, um, the more users are gonna verify, get retro rewards, and bootstrap the whole ONDC mass network. And yeah, so Madhavan, that's what we're building, and that's our thesis. Yeah, happy to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, this is very awesome. So, okay, I think the part that I missed was that I missed earlier from our chats was that there's an SDK that let's say the number yatris of the world can integrate and push reputation back to Alloy. That's super interesting. So it's not only just the onboarding kind of a product, but it's also like building reputation for perpetuity. And that's super powerful. That's super powerful. And yeah, this is a theme that we see recurringly. Reclaim is a great way to like bootstrap such network, and I'm glad that you have a real world use case that you want to bootstrap in the first place. So yeah, like we've been speaking for a long while. I think Paul is one of those people who thinks a lot about consumer facing products and crypto, which is yeah, pretty rare. So we need more of these consumer facing crypto products.
Yeah. So,
Super excited.
Madhav, I think in about a week from now, we're going to release a bunch of demos.
Wow.
And we're so happy to be working very closely with the Reclaim team because this is something new for even the consumer apps, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you get someone to understand the concept of submitting a proof or getting retro rewards? So our design team, we're inherently designers, creative people. So we've spent a lot of time cracking the UX for this. So
Yeah.
I think even the team will be very pleasantly surprised to see how we have integrated the whole reclaim flow within our onboarding. So just in about like 7 days from now, we'll have
Um,
some really nice videos coming out. So it's going to be
oh,
crazy beautiful stuff. Yeah.
I am intrigued. Okay. Okay. I'll be waiting for that. But yeah, yeah. Thanks, Paul. I think the other thing, like we're also super excited to work with Alloy and sorry, in my head it's still Space Kayak. Super excited to work with Alloy and like help um iron out this flow, right? Like as you said, there are new challenges in design, not only on Alloy's side, but also on Reclaim side. Like we also need to do a lot of work to make this experience much more smoother. So there's of course going to be a lot of learning that we're going to take from the new flow that you're going to be putting up. Maybe we could incorporate some changes to make it even better, right? Would love to work closely with you, not only to resolve the bugs, issues that you are facing on the go. Now, if as you said, your core competence is in design, and if you can help us identify these UX issues, where people are getting stuck, how we can improve it, would love to work with you and yeah, not only have a great product called Reclaim, but also have a great product Alloy that uses Reclaim. So we are um, incentivized in that way to help you out. Awesome, cool. Paul, with that, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming in and like sharing what you're building. Very excited for the videos that you will be sharing. I'm genuinely intrigued of what you built. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Looking forward. Thanks, Manu.
Cool. With that, maybe we could just end the session with a few questions. Yeah, like opening it up to everybody here on the chat, if you want. I think we were going to take questions on chat. Palak, are we taking questions on chat, or maybe somebody can just unmute and ask if you have any questions? Like, especially if you are like kind of confused, hey, how can I use Reclaim? This is what I'm building. If you want some help over there, it's definitely a great question. Happy to address it right now. Or if there are like some bugs that you ran into, some issues that you ran into while trying to integrate Reclaim, happy to resolve that right now as well. Maybe we push some code and push a fix on live coding. But yeah, there are no bad question. Like any other question is.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Cool.
Please do introduce
So,
yourself.
yeah, so I'm Bruno, and I recently discovered this Reclaim protocol, and actually I'm pretty excited about it because this is something I was wishing for about 2 years by now. So nice that you designed it, written the white paper. I haven't read all of it yet, but judging from it, that this thing seems solid. And yeah, I'm trying to puzzle together now a like a small project to try it out, see how it works. Essentially, it's about importing official commercial registers onto a blockchain to verify ownership of the company, essentially. There's some letter sending involved as well. So essentially, if you request verification that your on-chain address is actually in control of a legal entity, you submit the registration number, and that registration number is then fetched from the official commercial register website of the according jurisdictions to essentially extract the name, the officially registered name of that company, and the officially registered address of that company. So for this data extraction, under that registration number should be generated proof that this address and name actually came from that website. And then in the second step, this data is then sent to essentially it's a letter API from the German Postal Service where a key is generated, and then a letter is sent to the information is sent to an API, and the Postal Service then prints a letter and sends a letter to that address. So essentially, you can send a physical letter with an API call. And then, as a second step, we prove that we actually initiated the letter also with Reclaim protocol, so that when the letter arrives at the letterbox of that company, there is a little private key in there, like a secret that was generated, so that whoever controlled the letterbox that was officially registered can then claim on-chain that the verification process actually went through. So essentially, you can link a on-chain address to a controller of a officially registered company that way. And the two proofs that we need there is the extraction of the name and the address, and the proof that we sent the according letter, which then must be posted on chain, ideally, right? And then when the letter is received, there is another transaction on chain where the verification process completes. So there must be some kind of backend to that watches the on-chain requests and does the API calls accordingly. These proofs are then submitted on-chain again, I assume. And now I'm a little bit puzzled whether it should be like a backend, a Node.js backend, or I don't know. Do we use the Reclaim blockchain in some way? I've read that in the white paper. How would that work?
Sure. Hey, first of all, this is a super crazy idea. Like, wow. Okay.
Thank you.
Never looked at verification this way. Okay, so your question is, should I look at Node.js? Should I look at Reclaim's blockchain? First of all, Reclaim does not have a blockchain at this point in time, so it's all EVM. So so we just have contracts on EVM, Solana, Cosmos, depending on wherever you want it. So there's no Reclaim blockchain as of today. So that's the second question that you had. My take is, let me pull this up. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know if you've already checked it out, but there's docs.reclaimprotocol.org where you can use the Node.js for this. So your backend would probably ask the user to log in into the commerce website, generate this proof, submit that proof to your backend. This is a Node.js. So I don't think, yeah.
So actually, the user would not log in. The data is public, like the commercial registered are public, and there are like multiple third-party providers who provide that data per API. So the only parameter really is some on-chain address who requests a verification for a registration number that is posted on-chain, and that's the only user interaction to do. Then some operator, in the beginning probably a centralized operator, extracts this and then executes the proofs on their backend.
I see. So the user does not have a direct. I see.
No login required. Well, there is one login required for the letter sending API, and that is, it's a paid service, and some operator will have to have an account to pay that on the user's behalf.
Got it. Understood. Okay, let me quickly check.
Hey, Madhavan, just quick note that I think we have 5 minutes left for the meeting. So that's
Sure. Okay. Bruno, so this is something that's not on our docs to do this like without the user interaction. Basically, you're hitting the API by yourself. Did you just drop a message on general on our Telegram group, and I'll share a repository that you can use as a reference to build this out.
All right, cool. Yeah.
But
I'll have
yeah,
a message
you're
there.
right. None of these options that you're seeing on screen would work for you. You'll have to build slightly different. So basically, in which there is no user interaction, we have not yet like officially put out the support for that. But we do have a reference implementation that you can look.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Cool. Thank
Thank you. I guess
Yeah.
maybe if I have another half a minute here, the more fundamental question is, what is the most raw reclaim protocol that's available? Like literally just the specific API request and proof that the server responded with that message or regex in that message.
Sorry, I don't think I followed the question. Was there a question in there?
Yeah, like I've here like the minimum SDK essentially for reclaim protocol, where you literally just instruct a API call and you generate a proof that the response has a certain regex included or something.
Yeah, so I think that is the reference implementation that I'm referring to. Everything that you see over here is one step ahead of that. That is, there's also like a user has to log in, that kind of a that kind of a behavior. But what you're referring to in which there's no user login required, it's public API, but all that you need proof of is, hey, when you hit the API, this is the response that you got, and there's a regex in it. You're right. That is the simplest implementation of reclaim protocol, and we should have support for that publicly as well. I'll work with you on this. Sorry, we can take this offline. We need to work more closely to get it live. But it's an interesting. We can make it work.
All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your time, and yeah, we'll chat.
Yeah, we'll continue our chat on Telegram. Thanks, man. 4.
Hello.
Maybe we can take one more question, right, Palak?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hello, I'm Manas from Ratify.
Oh, Ratify. Awesome. How are you?
Yeah. So our app is based on Flutter. Okay. So we are using the Flutter SDK for reclaim protocol. And I followed the docs exactly. But you know what's happening is it's opening the instant app. And once we go to the instant app and log in, let's say I'm using a GitHub data provider. Once I log in, it's just going to the home page of GitHub. It's not redirecting after that.
Got it.
So we got on a call, not on a call. We got in touch with the Telegram group, and we just about it. So they asked about the logs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I generating them, but there was no real way to I think it's a problem with the instant app or something wherein it's not able to share the logs to any other app.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm aware of. So I think it's crashing or something like that.
Yeah. When you click on save to device, the instant app just crashes.
Yeah.
If you to Google Drive or any other app, it says that cannot forward the attachment or something like that.
In fact, like about 1 hour back, we were on a debugging session for this. We'll be pushing a fix for this shortly.
Okay, fine.
Thanks for bringing it to our notice. It's a very specific edge case that is failing, but yeah, we're aware of it. We know what the fix is. We will. Are you blocked on this right now?
Right now, yeah, because the thing was like the main issue that I told right now is for generating and sharing the logs. But
but you're blocked on GitHub
itself. To share the logs, right? So that part is what's blocking us.
Okay, so tell me one thing. What proof do you need to get unblocked?
Right now, like in our app, we have a section where we are getting either the Zomato order count or the GitHub ID, like basically proof that you own the GitHub ID.
Oh, okay.
So Yeah, when I'm using the data provider, even for Zomato, it does the same thing. I log in and then it's just stuck on the home screen, like in the web
Oh,
view or the instant app, right? It's just on the screen. It's not redirecting back to our app. And if I
okay.
click on the cancel icon, the next button is grayed out. That means the proof is not yet complete.
So one question, when you log in into, let's say, Zomato or GitHub, does it show the loading, so,
Yeah, the infinity logo thing, no?
no, not the Infinity one. One second, let me just show you. Can you see my screen still? Yeah, something like
Yeah.
this. Do you see something like this?
No, this one I don't see it. No.
Okay, fine. Then I think I know what the issue is. I'll personally make it work for GitHub maybe to unblock you, and then we can look at what the issue is with.
Yeah, yeah. Just one example is enough. The rest I can manage.
Okay, let me take note of this. Okay, I'll give you GitHub in a few minutes, I guess. I hope.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Cool, thanks.
Thank
Sorry, I was not aware of this issue. Like we kept discussing about, oh, there's a crash when they're sharing logs, but we did not get into it. They don't need to do it if GitHub just works.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. I think there's some miscommunication that happened, but sorry about that. We'll get that fixed.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Manas.
Hey,
And
Madhavan, we have time if you want to take more questions.
let me quickly check.
And that is if you have time as well then.
Yeah, let me quickly check. I can definitely take one more question. Yeah, I can take one more question. Yeah. If there's one.
I guess I'll chime in with a question then.
Mhm.
So I've just been looking at Reclaim actually more recently because I want to create like basically a kind of proof of reserves using
Mhm.
Reclaim. So I'm just wondering if it's, I guess, suitable for that purpose because I was just following the conversation from earlier about proofs being generated on the user side.
Mhm.
However, this is not, this wouldn't be on the user side. This would be um by by me, I guess, the provider of
Got it.
the stablecoin,
So
right?
you would hit an API somewhere and you want to generate a proof that that API responded with certain reserves. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Got it. This is exactly what we were talking about a few minutes earlier. If you were there on the call with Bruno, I think this is something that we do not yet support, like publicly, but we have gotten it to work. Interesting. We can get this to work. So I can give you a reference implementation like right now, and try to also package that into a backend, non-interactive kind of SDK as well.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna take note of this as well. Non-interactive. Understood. Okay. I'll make this work. Okay. Sorry about that. This might take like a few days to add support for non-interactive. By non-interactive proofs, I mean the user does not have to log in. It will be all done on the backend when you're hitting some certain API. Yeah, sure. But in the meanwhile, if you are blocked, I'm happy to share reference implementation.
Yeah, because the way I was doing it currently is I was just because I guess I do need to log in. So let's say it's, on some account, I would need to log into that account and then generate the proof through that. So I was creating a custom provider for that.
What do you mean by building a custom provider?
So instead of you like for example, what I was trying to do is, for example, if I want to make like a stable coin pegged to, for example, I don't know, Apple stock or whatever. So I go on eToro and then I log into my eToro and I say, okay, I actually have, this amount of Apple stock. So therefore I can mint this amount of Apple stable coin. oh, Apple, tokenizing, basically tokenizing reward assets, but
Mhm.
actually have generated proof that I have that reward asset somewhere else is the idea.
Yeah, that should be doable today, right? eToro requires you to log in, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I have actually created that provider already. So I think it should be it should be fine already. I think I haven't gone so far. So I've just started creating the provider now.
Got it. If you're having any issues creating the provider for eToro, again, definitely hit us up on Telegram. We'll help you debug that.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Cool. So sorry, just before I let you go, which one for you is more important? The making sure eToro works or getting the backend API proofs without user logging in?
It doesn't necessarily have to be eToro, as long as I have a kind of like trading platform to
Okay.
work to provide like an MVP.
Got it. Maybe we can start with eToro. And in the meanwhile, I'll get the API based integration working as well. And then maybe we could shift. That might take like a week or so. But yeah, maybe like happy to help you unblock using eToro. I think that's the fastest way to get going.
Okay, sounds good.
Palak, that code example you were mentioning, could it be that it is the Witness SDK, the NPM module Witness SDK? Is that it?
No,
Or
let me, I think,
no?
uh, right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't find now, I think just text it per Telegram, and then you have some time to
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah, sorry. I thought I
Because
just
you,
did it immediately, but sorry. But yeah, I'll
all right.
share it. Oh, it's on GitHub. Sorry, yeah, but yeah, I'll definitely share it in another 30
All right.
seconds.
So if I'm able to implement something until the end of next week for the hackathon, that would be great. And
Okay.
otherwise, I guess I would continue with this anyway. So definitely looking for some solution here long term.
Yeah,
But yeah, thank you.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, awesome. I'll send this right now. And cool. If there are other questions, can we take it on Telegram? I need to hop now in 2 minutes. But yeah, great questions. Super excited to see the kind of products that are being built, and I would personally want to help make sure you're able to launch. So yeah, let's go. Thank you guys for joining in. See you soon. Bye bye.